would like to invite the MPs of Ukraine from Petro Poroshenko Bloc and the People's Front Party. They yesterday returned from Brussels, where there was the first meeting of the Parliamentary Committee, Association Committee, Ukraine-EU, and also the meeting of the Friends of Ukraine. Ostap Semerak MP, who is the co-chair of the EU-Ukraine Parliamentary Association, and Ivanna Klympush-Tsintsadze, who's the head of the EU-Ukraine informal group of friends established by members of the European Parliament and the Parliament of Ukraine. They will tell us what they were doing in Brussels and what's the result of this meeting. Good morning, esteemed colleagues. Yesterday, the first inauguration meeting of the Parliamentary Association Committee was held in Brussels, headed by the MP from Croatia, Andriy Blinkovich, and I was heading from the side of Ukrainian Parliament. And I would like to say that for the first time at the inauguration meeting, the President of European Parliament, Martin Schulz, and the head of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Volodymyr Groysman, participated. This important meeting of the Parliamentary Association Committee, because that is one of the bodies which was set up in accordance with the regulations, and we mentioned that we Ukraine and European Union, we are moving along the schedule of implementing the Ukraine-EU Association, and we don't spend any time for just getting ready to that. I would like also to mention that the Parliamentary Association Committee is a joint body of Ukrainian Parliament and European Parliament, and that means that we are becoming part of European family, and the decisions passed by the Parliamentary Association Committee are joint decisions, integrated decisions, and they have recommendations to European Commission. Talking about what was the meeting about, we discussed the relations between Ukraine and the EU, the issues of security, political situation in Ukraine, and the implementation of EU-Ukraine Association Agreement. Also addressing in our resolution to European Commission, the Parliamentary Association Committee paid attention to the fact that we do not accept the annexation of Crimea that happened a year ago, and we also condemning the violation of human rights and the annexation, and we also expressed our concern as to the increase of the number of acts of terrorism in Ukraine. We also mentioned the events that took place in Kharkiv on the 22nd of February, just on the eve of the start of our work in Brussels. And talking about peaceful settlement of the conflict, the Parliamentary Association Committee addressed all the sides with the call to implement the resolutions of Minsk meeting and find all possible diplomatic ways to settle the situation. We also addressed all the sides to enhance the human resources capacity, to increase numbers of observers in OSCE monitoring mission, to enhance their technical capacity on the territory of Ukraine. It was also important that the Parliamentary Association Committee supported and addressed the European Commission with a request to support the launch of a police mission of European Union. You know that the latest resolution of the National Council on Defense and Security talks about such instrument of European security, and we hope that this will happen, and we hope that the European Commission will consider and pass such a resolution. The second block, an important set of issues that we were discussing, was the issues of executing the association agreement, and the Parliamentary Association Committee stresses how important it is for European Parliament to support the following financial instruments, the provision of the next package of macro-financial assistance, which is considered in the capital of Europe, and according to which Ukraine will get 1.8 billion euros. And the support of reforms implemented in Ukraine. I would like to mention that when discussing the execution of reform program, European side, and that was expressed by the Director of European Commission, Gunnar, and summing up the latest visit of European Commissar Hahn to Kiev, stated that European Commission positively assesses the course of reforms implemented by Ukrainian government, and addresses us as Ukrainian Parliament, Ukrainian government, with the call not to stop in implementing the reforms which were passed by the Parliament and supported by European side also. And talking about association agreement, it was stated that the preparation to Riga summit is very important, and in our final address we say that we state that there is a success of Ukraine in movement towards the second phase of the visa-free regime, and we express the support to and we ask the European Commission to recommend to provide the visa-free regime to Ukraine before the Riga summit, which is planned for the 21st, 22nd of May this year. Also, there was a discussion on improvement of business and investment climate of Ukraine. A lot of attention was paid to that from the 1st of January 2016 in Ukraine. The association agreement and free trade zone agreement become effective full-fledgedly, and we emphasize that it is important for Ukraine and European Union to pass decisions to prepare Ukraine for competitive work and to struggle in European markets. Also, I would like to inform that at the initiative of the President of European Parliament, Martin Schulz, and the Speaker of Verkhovna Rada, Groisman, the program of support for the ability of Ukrainian Parliament to exercise its duties according to association agreement was launched. The working group was set up that will develop the program, and it was stated that it is important to enhance the work of the Committee on European Integration, which is working in the Ukrainian Parliament. And in the end, I would like to say that the next meeting of the Parliamentary Association Committee will take place as we have agreed in the beginning of autumn 2015 in Ukraine. This will take place in accordance with the regulations in the association agreement that the Parliamentary Association Committee has meetings twice a year, and we will be setting up subcommittees which will be focused on the work of certain sectors of economy which are important for executing the association agreement and integration and adaptation of Ukraine and unification to the standards of European Union. And that is, now I would like to give the floor to Ivanna Klympush-Tsintsadze, who's the head of the EU-Ukraine informal group of friends, and also the member of our Parliamentary Association Committee. And she will talk about the initiatives which we have brought from Brussels together.
Good morning, dear colleagues. I'd like to continue what Mr. Semerak was talking about, to emphasize several points that are there in the resolution of the Parliamentary Committee of Association that pertain to humanitarian action plan that we think very soon will get with the support of the European Parliament from the European Union to support the humanitarian issues that we are dealing with as a country. Also, the information security component got support in this resolution. Our colleagues understand very well the information challenges that we face here in Ukraine, and they also understand and realize that the European Union faces the same problems of the influence of Russian propaganda, and we have underlined in our resolution the necessity to, as soon as possible, get from the European Commission, including Mr. Hahn, who is the Commissioner on expansion, the information support in counteracting the Russian propaganda. A special point in the resolution talks about the initiative that emanated from our friendship group between the group of friends between the European Parliament and the Ukrainian Parliament that talks about the necessity to monitor and reflect the human rights violation on the occupied territory of Ukraine, including Crimea, and we are grateful to our colleagues from the European Parliament who are also members of the Parliamentary Committee of the Association, of the Parliamentary Association Committee, that they have supported this informal initiative, and as a result we have a point in the resolution that there will be hearings about human rights violations on the occupied territories by the Russian Federation. Also, our colleagues during informal meeting with friends of Ukraine in the European Parliament. By the way, this group includes 48 European MEPs from 14 countries, members of the European Union. During this meeting, we underlined the necessity to continuously exchange information about the objective situation here in Ukraine and our joint counteraction of to the information aggression of Russia, not only in the European capital of Brussels, but also with all the countries who are members of the EU, in order to explain our position and the objective situation. Also, our colleagues, I'd like to underline that our colleagues are very attentively following the fate of Nadia Savchenko. They have all taken part in the session of the Commission with badges that had the face of our hero pilot, who is on the 76th day of her hunger strike. It's worth mentioning that the parliamentarians from the informal friends group, they have started it on the 4th of February. Every day one of them writes a letter to the representative of the Russian Federation at the European Commission, Mr. Chizhov. They write the letter with a request to free Nadia Savchenko, and every day this person also holds a symbolic hunger strike to symbolically support Nadia Savchenko. We hope very much that these efforts of our friends will, in the final count, help to free Nadia Savchenko. Also, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the resolution reflects our request, insistent request, that the European Union pays attention to the humanitarian situation in Ukraine, and that the committee of the Parliamentary Association addresses the European Commission with a request to prepare a plan of humanitarian action and financial help to Ukraine so that Ukraine is able to respond to the humanitarian crisis that we face. Another very important point in the resolution, I think, is that the resolution reflects the European perspective of Ukraine and an opportunity for Ukraine to apply for EU membership, and this is supported by the Parliamentary Committee of the Association in their address to the European Commission. We think that this is an objective recognition and evaluation of assessment of the efforts of Ukraine and Ukrainian citizens in protection of European values here in Ukraine. Any questions, colleagues? I know that the MPs have other meetings planned, so please brief and clear-cut questions. I'd like to tell you that the media center's site will carry the statement that was yesterday adopted, and now we are translating it into Ukrainian, so you will have an opportunity to read it on the resources of the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. We are already placing the English text on the site, and next will be the Ukrainian version. And again, when we talked in our joint resolution that the association agreement is the way that Ukraine is traversing successfully and now has the opportunity to apply for the EU membership, it is important that in this part of the resolution we have addressed together all the parliaments of the EU members so that they ratify the association agreement. As you know, at the moment 14 parliaments of member countries have done this, and Ukraine and the European Parliament have done this simultaneously last September. We hope that before the Riga summit this process is completed and it will consolidate the European progress of our society as a result of the revolution of dignity that was caused by the European choice of the Ukrainian people. Thank you very much. It is very pleasant to learn that our MPs and informal group of friends and the European Parliament and other entities are doing the diplomatic work on the front where we also have to win. And I would like to add that, you know, it was a pleasant gain of this work in the European Parliament over those 2 days that the entire delegation, apart from the composition of the delegation, apart from the fact that both coalition and opposition were represented there, we were working in a common understanding of the situation in Ukraine and of our request to the European Union and our progress along these lines. No, it's a good trend because we hear once